So at a point in my life, I began to question, okay, why everybody around me is poor?
Mm,
Why everybody around me is an employee? Why everybody
mm,
around me is this kind of way? Why am I on earth?
yeah.
Why am I African? Why am I black?
Mm,
Why was I born here? So it was these questions and me searching of it now led me to what actually I was born to do.
hello, everyone. Welcome to YASCP, your African Supply Chain Podcast. I'm your host, Stella Jaqueta. In this podcast, we discuss various topics that affect my beautiful, your beautiful, uncomplicated African supply chains. And guys, we are back for a whole new season of YASP. And happy new year. I wish you a very efficient and effective new year. Get it? Efficient and effective? Okay. If you're in business and supply chain, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I wish you all the best for this 2024 and may all that you have planned and dreamed of come true. And in this new season, as I said, new season, new things that we are bringing on. Hey, so I want to bring you a quote in order to you to just to usher in to what we're going to be talking about. And this quote goes like this: Africa's story has been written by others. We need to own our problems and solutions and write our story. This is by Paul Kagame. This is a time for us, for Africa, to write our own stories. And this is why this podcast is here to tell our own stories. And it really goes well with the topic of today's episode, which is African leadership in all shapes and sizes. And my guest today, he's really passionate and expert on this topic. And his name is Benjamin Achiampong, who is a certified business advisor, advisor board member, author, entrepreneur, and CEO of Wealthmasters Group, which is a world class leading provider of business solution and capacity development. Welcome, Benjamin, to YASP. How are you doing?
Thank you so much, Stella, for having me. And I'm doing great this morning. It's a beautiful year, and we're
Yes.
looking at the year, and I know that there's going to be great stuff happening this year. Thank you for having me on your show.
So thank you so much, Benjamin, once again for being on the podcast. And Benjamin, just to get started, can you talk a little bit about your career journey to where you are right now so that our guests can get to know a little bit of your journey?
Right. Thank you so much, Stella. And let me take this opportunity also to welcome all you guests and all the people that are listening to you and have been listening. And I encourage them to listen more. Because when I read about your podcast, I said that this is brilliant and this is an opportunity where people hear first-hand information. So thank you. Thank you. And to your question, I would say, well, my career actually started early. I have been a very intentional individual, even at a younger age, as to what I wanted to do. But as life will have it, I started out from primary school. There were so many things that I wanted to do. As you know, with every child, you have 1,001 ideas that you wanted to
Mm.
do. But as you age, you begin to focus. My background is engineering. It's engineering, mechanical engineering, specialized in automobiles. And I landed in that because I wanted to become a pilot.
What?
That was my desire. I went to the airport one day with my dad and I was seeing a friend off to Europe. And when I saw the aircraft, I said to myself that one day I will sit in and I'll fly. So that was where my passion started from. But as life would be, I could not afford to go to because parents were not in that position to take me through. So I landed up becoming a mechanical engineer specializing in automobiles. And over the years, I've enjoyed engineering until I moved over to Europe to further my studies. And then the question of who am I? what is my purpose on earth came in. And then I realized that my purpose is different from exactly what I have studied. And
Mm.
today I became a business advisor and been enjoying um, training and coaching business owners, entrepreneurs, and leaders to actually fulfill their life purpose and passion.
Wow. Thank you, Benjamin. It's funny how you said you wanted to be a pilot and now you're in business advisory. And that even leads me to my next question because sometimes, especially when I hear about supply chain leaders, right? Most of them that I've heard about, they stumbled upon. It's really not, it wasn't that intentional. It's only now with the newer generation that it's being very like going out and actually doing a course or doing a master's in supply chain. And even as you said, your intention in the beginning, but in this journey, was it always like, did you have a main goal in mind or you just stumbled on it? Were you very progressive in your steps?
All right. The two goes together.
Mm,
And if you look at the African education, so I would say that in the beginning it wasn't so, but the latter part it became so. And let me explain, because somebody's listening to me right now, and I believe it will help. And I'm so glad that you mentioned that now it's changing.
mm,
The African education and the curriculum that was not designed for people to be thinkers.
mm.
It was designed for students and people that go through that curriculum to become followers. All right. So you are trained to take instructions, but not to question the instructions,
Yeah.
okay, that you were being given. So all of us are a product of colonial, okay, manipulations and design to produce floor workers.
Hmm.
Okay. So when I started out, and as I said, as I wanted to become a pilot, okay, ended up engineering and stuff like that. It was just a situation whereby you need to memorize what you've been taught so that
Yeah.
when you go to exams, you can produce what you've memorized. And then based upon that, the tutor, your lecturer, begin to judge you based upon your ability, your capacity to be able to memorize and pour it out.
Yeah.
So that was the system that we went through, which is unfortunate, but as time will tell, as we grow up, we begin to question, okay? We begin to question the instruction, the information
Mm,
that was given to us. And that made us enemies of the system
mm.
because now you begin to question the processes. You see, as Albert Einstein said, it is only the lunatic who would do something repeatedly and then expect a different result. That's insanity.
Yeah.
Okay. So if my situation is not changing, then I got to question the process, the input, because it's the input that will give you the output. So at a point in my life, I began to question, okay, why everybody around me is poor,
Mm,
why everybody around me is an employee, why everybody
mm.
around me is this kind of way. So I began to question,
Yeah.
and that made people uncomfortable around me. So once I begin to question, then I begin to now set, why am I here? Why am I on earth?
Yeah.
Why am I African? Why am I black?
Mm,
Why was I born here? So it was these questions and me searching of it now led me to what actually I was born to do.
mm.
Because I am here on earth to solve a problem that nobody can solve apart from me.
Yeah.
8 point something billion people on the earth. My thumbprint is different from all of them, meaning that I was created uniquely.
Mm.
And there's a unique problem that the curator curated me to come and solve.
Yeah.
And by now researching, questioning the information that has been given to me, And everybody around me now led me to what I'm doing today. And I am more fulfilled. Okay. I am more happy and enjoying life because I'm not doing what I was born to do.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
in response to your question, I would say that in the beginning it wasn't so, but now it's so.
It's very intentional. Wow. Thank you, Benjamin. It's amazing to hear what you just said. Like it started with the question, why is it so? Why should it be like this? And I think even going into the whole African leadership, there's so many things that we're gonna uncover like briefly. And but before we go to that, I have a really funny question for you. So if you analyze your career, right? And you have a theme song, what would be your theme song and why?
Wow. Wow. I would say that my theme song will be, I don't know whether I'll be able to quote it right, but I've always enjoyed this guy, Israel Kawasa, whatever that his name is. I think he's a Hawaii guy. And his song is Somewhere Over the Rainbow Dreams
Mm,
Comes True. All
mm,
right.
yeah.
Somewhere over
Over
the
the-
rainbow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I've enjoyed it because that dreams comes through.
Mm,
And it is so because I wasn't born rich, but my determination is that I will die rich.
yeah.
Not the fault of my parents to be born as a poor boy. But if I die as a poor man, then it
That
is
is
my
my
fault.
fault. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
therefore, I believe that whatever dream that I have, whatever ambition and passion and vision that I have, if I stay consistently to read, my dream will come through.
Yeah. Thank you. Oh, guys, go and listen to Over the Rainbow to remind yourself. We're beginning of the year. We're setting our standards. We're setting our plans. It's this year. This is the year that you take your dream out of the paper, huh? So, Benjamin, how do you define leadership? Is it something that, sometimes we see it in class, those kids that are just like, natural leaders, they go for it, even from a young age, they've been advocating or even standing up for others? Or is leadership something that is really cultivated? It's something that is developed. It's a discipline, I can say, because now we see like there is you coach in leadership. Is it something that is naturally born with you, or is it developed and sharpened over time?
All right, that's a very beautiful question. So let me go a little bit into leadership. Number one, everyone is born a leader.
Mm.
Leadership is inherent,
Wow.
but as to whether you become a leader depends on you.
Mhm.
Your future is not ahead of you. Your future is inside of you.
Mm.
Like like the oak tree is in the acorn seed, but the environment upon which you plant the acorn seed will determine whether you have an oak tree. Therefore, everybody is born a leader. And if I should take you back into your mother's womb, when mom and dad met,
Mm.
decided to enjoy themselves and pleasure. Biologically or scientifically, I don't know, but there was a lot of spermatozoa that was released.
Mm.
And scientifically, it was proven that only one fertilized the egg,
Mm.
meaning that among the millions, okay, one fertilized, the leader fertilized, the rest died, and
Mm.
then you were born. So automatically, you won the
So,
race. So that
mm.
sets you as a leader. Now, to become the leader, okay, is something that you have to discover. And the environment plays a major role in you becoming the leader that you were born to be. So, what is leadership? Leadership is the ability to influence followers to become leaders and inspiring leaders to become agent of change.
Mm.
That is a very deep thing. Leadership is a broad topic, but I'll try my best to break it down a little bit so that somebody listening to me will say that,
Yeah.
well, I wasn't born a leader. I am not a leader. I will prove to you that it's wrong.
Mm.
Now, people look at leadership by the number of followers. No, no.
Mm.
That is why we have a difference between a great leader, a true leader.
Yeah.
They're two different things. So, leadership is not leadership until you start producing leaders.
Mm.
It is not followers. And a great leader or a true leader is not measured by the number of followers that he or she has,
Yeah.
but is determined by the number of leaders you've reproduced.
Choose.
All right. So when it comes to leadership, everybody is born as a leader, but to become it, as I said, depends upon you, your environment, who mentors you, who coaches you, what you see around your surroundings. Okay. Then you can develop it. But the reason why I said that leadership is a personal discovery. And that is why you can attend leadership seminars and you still cannot become a leader.
Yeah.
Can learn the principles of leadership, but you cannot become it. In fact, when you attend some of these leadership seminars and workshops, whatever, if care is not taken, you become a dictator, not
Mm.
a true leader. Because a true leader is somebody who discovered his passion.
Mm.
You don't force people to follow you, but you rather inspire and influence people to follow you based upon a personal discovery.
Yeah.
And you realize that if you look at the world, most of the true leaders, most of the great leaders, okay, nowadays, if somebody has got oratory ability to be able to stand in public and speak, okay, and speak very well, they say, whoa, he's a leader. No, he's not a leader. He's got the ability to speak. Okay. A leader, a
Yeah.
true leader, let me use the word true leader, discover a passion,
Mm.
discover something, discover himself, and discover what he or she has been born to do.
Mm.
And by doing it passionately, people begin to follow the person because they can see themselves in what the person is doing. And then it attracts them. And then they
Yeah.
begin to follow that person. And you realize that the people now become an agent of change. All right. So
Mm.
you can also develop your leadership. You can develop it. Okay. I don't believe when I was young that I used to believe that leaders are born and
Mm.
some of them, but I realized that no, all of us are born
I'm
leaders.
born leaders.
Now we lead, okay, in our area of giftings and talents. You don't lead people by telling them what to do, but you lead. That is why everybody is a leader. Because sometimes you go to this, what I mean, leadership seminars and workshops, okay, and they will tell you that, okay, your followers and leaders and whatever, you lead by the area of giftings and talent. And
Yeah.
as you lead in that area, and that is why I said that it's a personal discovery. When you discover yourself, true leadership is born because you now begin to serve your purpose. And that is why when you look around the world, most of the true leaders and great leaders that we've ever had and will still have are people who discovered a cause
Mm.
and
Yeah. That's true.
follow it. And sometimes it's situational, okay? They stumble into something. They saw a need in the community. They saw a need in the society. They saw
It
a
makes
need in
sense.
the country. They saw a need in the world. And they stood up to solve it. And by solving it, they became a leader and they had people working with them.
Wow. Oh, this is a leadership masterclass in itself. Love it. I really love your definition. We are inherently born leaders and we need to develop, to become, to rise up to the occasion. You might be listening out here. You might think, I don't see how I can stand up. No, the fact that you're here right now, the fact that you're listening, you are a born leader. And up to you to stand up for the cause, to stand up for what you believe in. You are the answer for the problems that we face in this world and in this continent if you're African listening. And Benjamin, how do you see African leadership? Not only in terms of, the public sector is very much criticized, I can say, in terms of leadership, but just in general, what are your perspectives and your vision in terms, or your opinion even on the African leadership?
Right. So it's a leadership is leadership. And it doesn't matter whether an African,
Mm.
European, whatever, leadership is leadership. And it has got to do with an individual wanting to empty himself or herself to serve. But we look at continent, okay, and it's sometimes we look at the West, and I'm not lambasting the West, okay, it's because they took advantage of true leadership and the ability in the nuances of the English language. They've written a lot. But the African leadership is one of the best,
Mm.
okay? One of the best leadership. But just that we've not really emphasized on it. And as I said, it stemmed from the educational system that was imposed on us. Okay. When I was growing up as a kid, my mom and my dad, they used to normally tell us stories that when they were kids, their doors were not even closed and nobody would go in and take anything
Mm.
because there was so much trust in the community. Everybody knows everybody. That's where the word
Mm.
Wumbuchuke come from. So you realize that because of the level of trust and faith in humanity, nobody will do you evil or something.
Yeah.
But then you have now a foreign information that has been introduced to you, and it's to make you a follower. Now, because of that, you begin to bury your truth and begin to follow a system that was not meant for you.
Yeah.
Okay. And therefore, you realize that those who rise up to become leaders in the continent of Africa, okay, is stem or they lead from a selfish perspective.
Mm.
Okay. So therefore, because it's stemming from a selfish perspective, no, I have to become president. I have to become the director. I have to. And I will do whatever that it takes to become,
Mm.
meaning manipulating the system to become. In fact, true leaders don't appoint themselves. It is the people that
Well
now
pointed.
call them and
Yeah.
say that, come and lead us. Okay.
Yeah.
So the question of African leadership, okay, and I would say that it's much, much, much better. I'm telling you
Mm.
honest, okay, though generally speaking, we might not see because of our definition of what leadership is about and what we see. So in Africa, when somebody has money, okay, there's a saying that the partially blind in a country or a town or a village full of blind people, okay, become the hero
Yeah.
because you can see a little bit.
See.
So because of our definition for leadership, it's not well defined and crafted. If the person has money, he becomes a leader.
The leader.
If the person is handsome or beautiful, he or she becomes the leader. If the
Yeah.
person can talk well or even speak well, and I'm not talking about local dialect, as long as the person can speak good English, automatically he or she becomes a
The
leader.
leader.
But English language is a measure of intelligence. It's just
Yeah.
a language.
Language.
Okay. So African leadership is waking up, and you will see that the younger generation is now beginning to understand what true leadership is all about, and therefore is defining leadership in the continent of Africa. But you realize that, okay, because of the colonial system, oh, an elder, you can't question an elder. When somebody who is older than you speaks to you, you have to take it, even the person is
Yeah.
talking gibberish. You have to take it because it's an elder. Okay,
Yeah.
you can't question it. But you
Yeah.
realize that this generation is now beginning to question. And sometimes they look at them and they say, that, oh, he or she doesn't respect. I'm sorry. The person respect just that what you are saying, he's questioning it.
Mm.
So if I should say that African leadership, what it is, I would say is one of the best.
Yeah.
Because you see, our leadership was taught or defined on values, on principles, which
Mm.
that is what a true leader, okay, must abide by.
Yeah.
You are not the leader because you can manipulate. And by the way, most of the people are professional manipulators, just that they have beautiful titles like doctors, like reverend ministers, and presidents, and whatever. But they are
But
professional
the manipulators.
manipulators.
Yeah. And keep people oppressed. And I like how you say African leadership is one of the best. But what I've seen, Benjamin, sometimes is that it's not highlighted, or it's not very, how can I say, publicly shown. We are constantly being bombarded about how bad things are, about the corruption. I'm not saying that it's not there, but that's the rhetoric that is all constantly being told unto us. And that, you know what, in order for you to thrive, you need to look at the West culture. In order for you to go beyond your current circumstances, you need to perhaps change your accent. Perhaps you need to learn how to say the English, so that you can sound a little bit more intelligent or well spoken, or you even have to perfect your speech. So it's those things that, sometimes it just infiltrates, and you think that, okay, since I know all these things, then I should be a leader. I should be leading a people, but it's about the calling. It's not about you appointing yourself, but it's people appointing you to that position. And I like what you said. It's about principles. Can you highlight three principles that in the African leadership that you see that it's so good, and it's something that if we really grasp it, and if we really embrace it fully, even as a new generation is coming up, we are going to another level.
All right. Thank you so much for this question. And you'll realize, okay, I've not been around for a long time in my young
Yeah.
years, my young age. And if you look at leadership traits or characteristics of a leader, the
Mm.
first thing that comes in is trustworthy. That's why leadership don't actually start when you are an adult. In fact, it
Mm.
starts from home. In your home, when parents are around, and I'll speak from my experience. My mom and dad told us not to steal,
Mm.
okay? And always to tell the truth, no matter how difficult it is. Even if it was mistaken, and in as much as we will still be punished, okay, we still need to tell the truth. That's number one. So trustworthy becomes the order of the day.
Yeah.
Number two, you are also told to be faithful and be committed. Okay, because that's some of the ways that you'll be able to change whatever that you want to change. Okay, and then also we're told how to speak well. Okay, speak well, not like using the English language or whatever, but make sure that when you speak decently,
Yeah.
not foul languages, not screaming on top of your voice, not shutting people down. All these things started from the home. It wasn't at school. So by the time that we're going to school, we've already been taught. how to act. Although they did not use the word leadership, they were teaching us the core and the key principles of becoming a leader. You don't need to scream on top of your voice. You see, when a clear voice speaks, okay, a loud voice cannot compete.
Mm.
Let me repeat it.
Yes.
And the other way, a loud voice cannot compete with a clear voice, even if it whispers.
Mm.
Okay, so true leadership speaks clearly. You don't need to shout at your security gate man. You don't need to shout at your subordinate, okay? And then you know that you are the leader. No, you were servant.
Mm.
Why not? Okay? Because as true leaders, people, when they see you, they must be inspired.
Mm.
So this will be a little bit of the trait or the qualities or the values or the principles guarding leadership that I will say. And all these things, if you read the letters that King, was it Nipo or whatever, this Belgium king wrote to the missionaries,
Mm.
okay? And he told them some few things. You can search on the internet. So don't teach the Africans morality because they know it already.
Yeah.
Don't teach them spirituality. They know it
You know
already.
it already.
But make sure that anything that will make them think, they don't have access to it.
Mm. Mm. Yeah. Yeah. That is deep. That is deep. It's and that's what's for me why I'm very passionate about education, because it makes you, as you say, question. It makes you see beyond, because sometimes if you don't know, how will you dream? If you've never seen, how will you dream? You know, you shared your story about seeing airplane. And you're like, I also want to, also want to fly. I also want to pilot. And it's about what? It started with what? Seeing, having that conception and seeing that there's a possibility for you to become that. And for me, with education, with, getting the required knowledge and capacity building, it's about that. It's about seeing possibilities. There's another way of doing things. And as you've shared, like truth, faithfulness, it starts at home. It starts at home, and it's up to us to really, how can I say, grow on these virtues every day, even as leaders. And Benjamin, how do you see coaching and mentoring playing a strong, how can I say, in developing strong leadership within Africa? Do you think it's necessary? Do you think we already have it? Or how do you see that actually improving us or taking us to the next level? I know that, everyone has their eyes on Africa, foreign direct investors, people from all over the places. But it's up to us now coming and defining our own terms. So how do you see mentoring and coaching playing a role in this?
Phenomenal. Phenomenal. You see, everything starts from home.
Mm.
If your child, when we were kids, if we bring anything that our parents didn't buy for us, they question, where did you get it from? And if you are not able to explain, they will hijack your neck to take it back.
Mm.
You can't bring school books that were not given to you by your teachers. For me, I'm so grateful that I had such parents, though I mean, they've gone now, but I enjoy the discipline that they instill in us. Okay. So
Mm.
mentorship and coaching started from there. And if you're a parent and your children bring things from town, from school, and you don't question where they got it from, automatically you are teaching them to be corrupt. That's why they grew up to become corrupt leaders.
Mhm. Can you repeat that again, please, for those at the back?
Okay. If you're a parent and your children begin to bring stuff home, and you don't question where they got it from, you've started mentoring and coaching them to become corrupt.
Yeah.
Though you are not saying anything, but you are teaching them. Because in the home, there has to be a disciplinary system. There has to be an institution to check what is right and what is not right. So if your child comes home, you know that he's got one pen and now he's holding two pens. You need to question, where did you get the extra pen from? Who gave it to you? Extra book, extra shoe. Okay? You need to question it. So therefore, we're talking about mentorship and coaching. But many people use this. These are two different words. But many people use it interchangeably. Coaching is different from mentoring.
Can you explain the difference? Yeah.
All right. Mentoring is actually, I'll use the same word, mentoring or helping somebody to do exactly what you are doing. So when they bring extra books, extra shoes, and stuff like that home, and you are not questioning, okay, you are automatically mentoring them to become corrupt because you are corrupt already. Okay, your salary is $5,000 or maybe $2,000. But all of a sudden, you are building a house that is bigger than your salary. If it is not that you've gone for loan, where did you get the money? If you're not doing extra business that is traceable, where are you getting that money to build a house? And look at Africa. People come into politics 4 years term, then they are building a mansion. Where did you get the money to build a house? And somebody's been working 20, 30 years and has not been able to buy a plot. So where did you get the extra money? So you see where it starts. So you are mentoring. You are mentoring. Now, a mentor will always, help you to become what he has become. So if somebody is a chemical engineer, he can mentor you to become a chemical engineer. But coaching is different. A coach does not need to know or do exactly what you've done or what you want to do. But the coach now become your blind spot. Somebody who now sees you and help you to achieve or to become what you were born to do.
Yeah.
So, in the nutshell, coaching and mentoring is very key to the African development, especially the young budding business leaders and entrepreneurs. Coaching and mentoring is good for them. And I will go more for coaching.
Yeah, true.
And having one-to-one coaching with your coach, whereby he begins to ask you questions. By the way, my library grew bigger when I left school. My library became bigger when I left school. You see, what is schooling? Schooling is boxing the mind. Education is actually helping somebody to think beyond the box. So they are two different things. Schooling is different from
education. Yeah.
All right. So when you go to school, you are trained, you are prepared to follow instructions. Immediately, the day that you become educated, you begin to question. And that is why most African leaders who had wanted to change the continent were killed because they began questioning the instructions of operating the machine. And they said that no, you don't question your master. You just need to follow instructions. We train you to follow instructions. And if you are not going to follow, you can't stay with us. So in responding to your question, Stella, what I would say that mentorship and coaching is key. And anybody who is listening to us, the year 2024, listen to me carefully. You need to find yourself a coach. You need to find. Isn't it amazing that look at all the great leaders? By the way, if somebody is a religious person, and I will give you a biblical example. Even Jesus, who is recognized as one of the greatest leaders ever lived, had a mentor, had a coach.
Yeah.
So your coach is your future portrait.
Yeah.
Your mentor becomes your future portrait. What you want to see in the future, your coach will help you to achieve it. So I believe, and that is why teachers and lecturers and professors are not just supposed to give information. They are supposed to mentor and coach. But unfortunately, if they themselves have not been mentored,
How can
or
they?
coached,
Yeah.
and the problem is that once somebody holds a PhD or a master's degree or even first degree in the continent, you can't teach them anything. They think that they know it all. Who are you to come? But I've seen many great footballers that the coaches don't play, but yet they've trained them to become the best of the world.
Yeah. Thank you, Benjamin. Guys, example, and there is your homework, and your note for 2024. You get a coach. I think because also, Benjamin, we are being bombarded with so much data, and like, you need to do this, you need to do that, this is the next thing, this is the next, you like do this, and then you're like, whoa, okay, where do I even start? Sometimes you know, like, I need to go from point A to point B. How do I do it? You know? And that's where your coach comes in. That's where your mentor comes in order for us to be led in that effective manner. I can say I myself have been mentored, and this podcast is a fruit of a mentorship, you know. That's how it is, You always get something out of it. You always get something positive, not only for your career, but even for your personal life, even for your discipline. So you have so many benefits to gain out of it. So please, guys, you've heard Benjamin, get a coach or get a mentor. And Benjamin, can you tell us an example or a story where you've seen really meant coaching or mentoring really uplifting an individual or taking them from 0 to 100? Can you share us a story?
Right. So there are many. Even me myself, I'm a product. I still have a coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still have a coach. All right. Even today, I have a coach after
Look,
today
and look at
that I
Benjamin.
pay. All right. It's because I don't know it all and I can't see it all. That is why when you buy a car, if you see every car, there's always a rear mirror. There's a mirror that looks back for you. And they have what they call your blind spot, meaning that you can't see everything, you can't do everything. But somebody, have you ever driven before? You tell somebody, oh, can you check my back for me? Can you
Mm,
check where the car is coming?
mm,
Means that you don't know it all. All right. So there are many, 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 many that I can. If you come to the continent of Africa, some of these great leaders were mentored by so many people. All right. Some people were mentored, and you can be mentored through books, can be mentored through this podcast, for example. That's why I want to encourage people to listen, okay, to your
yes.
podcast, because you can also be mentored through some of these things. And but if I should give you an example, okay, let me use a common one. A common one is Mike Tyson, the
Mhm.
boxer. He had a trainer who, okay, discovered him, became his father. That is, I think they call him Kuz or whatever his name is. And he transformed a street boy. Okay, he
Mm,
transformed a street boy to become a
great.
world champion.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is what coaching. Mike Tyson was walking on the street fighting all kinds. I'm using that, number one, because he's black, and number
Mm,
two, it's common to know Mike Tyson, but I can give example. Okay, I can give many, many of them. Tiger Wood, you
yeah.
name it. But you realize that somebody discovered them. and that person helped them to become who they were born
Yeah,
to be.
that's
And
right.
today, if you look at the world, these men have made history. These men have made impact in their career, off field and in the field.
Mm.
So this will be a key example that I can give. But there are many. And that's why I said, even me myself, I'm a product of coaching. And I coach
Mm.
many people. I have people that have businesses that run six figures. Okay. That in fact, if you can find somebody who was just a nurse,
Mm.
to a mere, I mean, I'm not looking down upon nursing, but somebody who just go to the world, do the nursing, and today he owns a business of her own. I mean, it can only take coaching and
Yeah.
somebody being to support a person. So
Mm.
that's what I would say. And I'm enjoying coaching. I'm enjoying it. When I talk to people, when I begin to find out about them and we begin to talk, engage one on one, it's so amazing. The word opens up and it lets, and it's whoa. And then the next moment is, I can do this. And they want to fly, they want to jump from the 84th
Yeah.
floor.
Yeah. Yeah. And because it's very inspiring when someone like kind of discover something or can see something that sometimes, as you said, it's blind spot. You can't yourself see it, or you don't know how to ask those questions to yourself, because sometimes you can even lie to yourself, you can tell yourself stories so that you don't have to deal with the true reality. And for me, coaching is like it's taking out, you know, opening that Pandora box, those secrets, those things that you're like you are hiding or you are afraid to really display, and bringing up to the world and bringing up to the best and to rise up to be the leader that you've always been, because that's have been always inside of you. And Benjamin, just for wrapping up, what advice do you have for entrepreneurs, for young people who are rising up in the workplace, who want to start their own businesses, especially here in Africa? What is your word of advice, as a coach, as a business leader, as head of a company as well? So what is your advice to them?
All right. You see, I would say this, don't reinvent the wheel. Whatever that you want to do has been done before. Whatever that you want to become, somebody has become it before. Okay. So find someone who can help you.
Mm,
Find someone who can help you. And if it means even paying them
mm,
to help you, pay them.
yeah.
One of the things is that people don't like paying coaches and they think that, oh, I can do it myself. What are you can? No, 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 no. Listen, if time didn't permit and time will not permit, if I tell you my background, my story, okay, I'm a product of miracle.
Mm,
And if I can do it, I can do it.
yeah.
Anybody can do it. So what I want to say to the young entrepreneurs and budding business owners and startup is that listen, don't sweat. Go and find yourself a true coach. Somebody will have you at heart. By the way, there are many people parading as coaches and consultants. Be very careful. Some of them it's just your money that they want. It's just your money that they want. So also watch out. But what I want to
Yeah.
say is that whatever that you want to do, find somebody who has done it. Go to the person. And it doesn't mean that your coach should be in the same country, the same town that you
Mm,
are in. You can look across the ocean. Fine. And by the way, I'm here. I'm not advertising myself, but I'm here. I'll be able to help you to discover the first thing when you work with me. The first thing that you discover is your true purpose. Why are
mm,
you here? And I have something that I call the 5 life most important question that you need to answer. And anybody who answers that becomes a true leader. And
mm,
until you answer those 5 questions, forget it. Forget it. Forget it.
mm,
So find somebody who has done what you've done, Go to the person. It can be through books, it can be through audios. Leaders always pour themselves out through podcasting like this, through books, through tapes. This is what I want to say to the young budding entrepreneur. Attend conferences, attend workshops. You don't know it all. Hey, and attend. Stop this free thing, everything free. NGO is doing this. There's no NGO who will train you to become wealthy.
Mm.
They are all designed to make you poor. In fact, instead of them eradicating poverty, they finance poverty.
Whew. Yeah.
Okay? All the NGO programs are designed to finance poverty. They are not designed to eradicate. So if they are teaching you financial literacy, mind you, it is designed to finance it.
Yeah.
There's a system, a principle, a law that works in this world. It's the principle of sowing and reaping.
Mm.
If you don't sow anything, you don't reap anything. If you don't pay, listen, and some of these courses, some of this training that will help you, I can come and speak for free. But there's a secret that always make great leaders and true leaders. And I want to share with you.
Yeah.
But I can speak and inspire you. But when you work, sometimes, still let me say this. I enjoy when I'm talking to the young budding entrepreneurs. Sometimes all that you need is to work with a person.
Yeah, that's true.
To work and study and serve the person and observe how the person does his things. And
Yeah.
I have many people like that. They work when I'm traveling, wherever that I'm going, when I'm going to do training or whatsoever, they just come along with me and they observe how I do things. So sometimes all that you need to do is to just find a true leader and go and serve the person. Sometimes volunteer to support the person grow. And it's not an elderly person. Let me use you as an example. You're doing podcasting. Somebody can walk to you and say, Stella, what can I do to help you? I just want to serve you. Should I write your script for you? Should I arrange the room? Should I sweep the office and stuff like that? By the person doing that and observing you, eventually the person learns certain key things to develop himself or herself.
Wow.
I hope my advice goes.
You know, it's something that is not usually said, but we do need each other, you know, in order to grow. We do need the help of someone. In this life, we were not created to be an island. And I know that we have this, especially as young people, like I'm on my grind, you know, I'm on my hustle and I'm gonna do it myself. You know, I don't need nobody, I can do it, you know. But as you said, we do need, in order for us to go to the next level, we do need someone to walk with us. We do need to go and serve. Sometimes it's a matter of just going there and observing what that person is doing. That person inspires you, go reach out to them. Sometimes that's the thing that's preventing us because we're like, what is he going to say? What is she going to say? You know, I don't want to belittle myself. I don't want to humble myself, or I don't want to be serving, you know, because at the end of the day, you're not also being humble when you're not serving. But it's, or you're afraid that person is not going to give you their time of the day. But who knows? What's the worst that you can happen? You know, go reach out to them, go and ask for advice. Go and ask, hey, I want to work with you, even if it's like for 3 months. I need to work with you and understand what are you doing, because I also want to get to that place. And if we help each other, imagine where we're gonna be like in 5 to 10 years, even as a generation that is coming up. So I'm so glad, Benjamin, to having you on this podcast. And just to conclude, Benjamin, how can people reach out to you and what you have upcoming that you would like to share with our listeners?
Hey, wow. Wow. What a privilege and what an honor. And let me say to the audience, I've never been to Mozambique before, and I can't wait to be in Mozambique. I
Yes.
think we need to find a way to organize a seminar there,
Yes.
and I'll be in Mozambique to speak. But if you want to contact me, I am on social media. with my name, Benjamin Achiampong. Is the original one, not the fake one. It's the original one, Benjamin. So I'm more on LinkedIn and Facebook. I'm
Okay.
not that much on Instagram and Twitter and those kind of. I
And
keep very
TikTok.
simple and TikTok. Yeah. So very simple. So if you click in Benjamin Achiampong on these two sites, you should be able to get me. I run a company called the Wealth Masters Group. The Wealth Masters Group. So if you go www.wealthmastersgroup.com, if you want to email me, you can email me on info@wealthmastersgroup.com. Info@wealthmastersgroup.com. But I've got a special program coming up, which is just this year, 2024. We're looking at 4th and 5th of March. All right. I'm running a summit called the African Caribbean Achievers Summit, where we want to recognize and acknowledge the achievers from Africa and Caribbeans. And you are one that we want to recognize. So it's our maiden
Ah,
one. It's our first time that we're doing it. And please go to the website at acaachievers.org and register. When you go to the website, you see people that we've invited from African and Caribbean descent to speak. We want to do a virtual one this year, 2024, and then also subsequently we'll be doing an in-person or hybrid meetings. If you are a business owner, an entrepreneur, a leader, and you want to advertise your business, that's the place to go because we
mm,
want to promote Africans and Caribbeans around the world. So this is coming up March the 4th and the 5th, and you can't afford to miss it. It's an opportunity. Hey, listen, I love you. I want to be in touch with you. I want to see how best I can pour out myself into you. Every great leader must die empty by pouring himself or herself into others and multiply. That's what I
yes.
intend to do.
Yes, amazing. So, guys, you've heard it, from the great Benjamin. You've heard it. You have a conference coming up 4th to 5th of March. Make sure that you participate. Again, he's mentioned here, be part of these conferences. Go and seek the education, not the schooling, the education necessary. You don't want to miss out. Every conference that I've been to, I've only had something to gain out of it. I've never lost my time going to a conference and learning. So thank you so much for listening to the podcast. It has been, we are back, as I said, and this year we have so many new guests coming up. We've started with the bang with Benjamin, and it's going to continue going up, up, and forward from here on. So like and subscribe. If you're on YouTube, subscribe and like our channel. If you're Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google Podcast, name it, we are there. So make sure that you save it and share this episode with as many people as you can get it, because again, we are leaders and we are empowering each other. So I will see you on the next episode. Stay tuned.